Good evening, and welcome to the Fortean Slip. This is episode -5. The Animal Farm was incorporated in 1984. I am not all situated. Hope everybody's all settled in for the holidays. Good times are abound. I finished the first book in the last Chronicles of Thomas Covenant. I have it right here. The Runes of the Earth. That one. Of course my thing. I tried to set my green screen up today. That did not work well. For some reason, it either fades out the green screen, or the image of the greens on the green screen, or it fades me out. I cannot get it to balance in any way. So, I don't know. But, yeah. I finished that up the other day, started the next one, Fatal Revenant. I really liked the first trilogy, Thomas Covenant, The Unbeliever. The first book is Lord Foul's Bane, second book is The Ill Earth War, and the third book is The Power That Preserves. Those three books are, at this point, for the longest time I would have told you The Wheel of Time. I would have said Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time is by far my all-time favorite series. The depth of it, I love that story. But as time has gone on, I really connected with the Thomas Covenant story in a way I can't describe to everybody. And I love that story in more ways than I love the Wheel of Time, which I love epic fantasy. I love long epic fantasy. The Thomas Covenant trilogy is just that. It's 3 books. But 3 very well written, sometimes to the point of making it hard to read, but they're very well written books, and I highly recommend them. So what else was I going to get into before I get into the news tonight? I am scatterbrained. I was going to do a show on one thing this week. Completely derailed that idea. I was going to do a show about death. Reason being, my other parakeet died last Saturday. Pretty much right before the show. Kinda. I mean, it was that afternoon. I looked over. I noticed he wasn't doing so hot. I put my hand in, didn't move. Now this bird, if I ever put my hand in that cage, was gone in a second. Just as far away from me as possible. So I knew something was up right there. Excuse me. So I wound up picking him up at one point, which he allowed me to. And I definitely knew something was up. I set him down. I put in some water for him. because he was down on the floor of the cage. And at some point, he got himself back up. And I was over here. I heard flapping. And I look over, and his neck's twisted. He'd hit the floor of the cage. Yeah. So that's why I was going to talk about, not necessarily because of that, but it's kind of sparked something in me that made me want to talk about that. So I was going to go down that road. Didn't happen. I got derailed. Excuse me. I need a drink. So, I'm trying to decide where I go after I finish the last Chronicles of Thomas Covenant. That's where it kind of gets tricky for me when I finish something or I finish a series that I'm working on, because I have so many books to read. I have so many books in my library that I kind of flounder as to where to go. It's a blessing and a curse. I love the size of my Kindle library. I hate trying to pick another book. So, but I have a lot to choose from. I just don't know if I want to dig into a really long series again. I kind of want to reread The Wheel of Time. I was talking to my son about it the other day. He's like, I don't know, it's 15 books long. And I'm like, yeah, there it is. They're good. One of them, not so much. But, and I've never read the prequel, A New Spring. So that'll be fresh for me. I've read almost all of his other work. I read all of his Conan novels, which were excellent, by the way. If anybody wants a good sword and sorcery type adventure, pick up Robert Jordan's Conan series. They are excellent. So I'm not really sure where I want to go after I finish that. If I want to delve into something horror again, or another, like I said, another fantasy series. I have so many fantasy series that I want to get into. And Jim Butcher's new book for the Dresden Files comes out in January. So I'm not sure I want to get into anything too heavy, because I definitely want to read that when it comes out. And I haven't finished. I started watching Stranger Things, season 5. Is that what we're on now? 2 episodes in. And I'm not too thrilled. I've heard mixed things about it, so I kind of want to sit down and finish it, but there's a part of me that's like, don't, you're going to be disappointed. But we'll see. We'll see. There's another, there's a movie that I've been wanting to check out on Amazon, and I can't remember the name of it right now. All I know is it's about UFOs, aliens, whatever. It was made in another country, but they used AI, not in a way you'd think. They used it so that they could put in their voices and have their lips say what they're saying in English. And I thought that was pretty neat. And the movie looks pretty cool, too. So, I want to check that out. But let's get into the lovely news here. And I have to look for it here. Everything's behind me. That's everything on me now. Phil sent me the old news bumper. Here's this week's news. I'm going to try to do this. I have it set up in 2 different places. So we'll see. We'll see how we do. Bum, bum, bum. La da da. Present. Share screen. Which one do we want to do first? Oh, let's do this one. It's a holiday story. Sasquatch Santa. What is this one? This from where is this from? OregonLive.com. This Portland holiday market has Sasquatch Santa and artisans greeting shoppers in a lumber yard. Sustainable Northwest Wood in southeast Portland sells lumber year-round. But on Friday, holiday shoppers can see woodworkers' finished products and other goods crafted from natural materials from cast iron to gems. More than 30 Pacific Northwest artisans and makers will display their work from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Friday at the 5th Annual Holiday Makers Market, held at Sustainable Northwest Woods Lumberyard and Open-Air Warehouse at 2701 Southeast 14th Avenue. Admission and parking are free, but a reservation is requested at snwwood.com. This one will be bigger and better than ever, with new and long-time favorites, said Lynn Morgan of Sustainable Northwest Wood. Shoppers will find woodworking and weaving, textiles and toys, art and jewelry, as well as ornaments and stationery. Morgan encourages people to invite friends, wear festive holiday attire, and have their photo taken with a hulking Sasquatch Santa. Participants can taste samples of locally produced beer, wines, coffee, and cocoa, and nosh on specialty food and sweet treats. One of the returning sellers is Christy Covington of Tree to Table. She works with young woodworkers to turn storm-damaged, downed, or diseased trees into handmade wooden products. Covington's husband, Curtis Falbo of Wind Thin Tree Service, is a certified arborist who salvages trees in the Portland area that can be used to make a burled horse chestnut coffee table, black walnut charcuterie? I can never pronounce that one right. Board, or a maple shelf rather than firewood or mulch. And I think I'm going to just leave that one right there. They got a Sasquatch Santa. Let's check out the Sasquatch Santa. Are there any other good pictures? Good old Sasquatch Santa. Giving away stuff in baskets. That's what we all want. I was out shopping. Me and the wife were out shopping. And we came across the pop figure of the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the old, I don't know if they did stop motion or claymation, however they did those old things, of Rudolph. So we grabbed that, and we noticed that they had the Bumble, and I want the fucking Bumble. I want the Bumble. Bring me the fucking Bumble. So there's that. Next story for the night. Which one do we want to do? I'll start with this one. From Futurism.com. Oh, my other one fell off. The mysterious interstellar object appears to be pulsing in a heartbeat pattern. The mysterious interstellar object 31 Atlas is just weeks away from reaching its closest point to Earth. It's expected to pass within just 170 million miles of our home planet on December 19th. Oh, let me bring that down so you guys can see that. Giving astronomers an unprecedented opportunity to take a closer look as it whizzes past. As Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb points out in a new blog post, they'll be building on intriguing existing observations from ground telescopes, including a paper published in the journal Astronomy and Astrophysics. in October by a team of researchers in Europe and Africa that found signs that it's radiating a heartbeat pulse of light that repeats every 16.16 hours. While that may sound like an intriguing new fold in Loeb's long-standing efforts to support the theory that the object could be an extraterrestrial spacecraft visiting the solar system, there's likely a much more mundane explanation, that it's spinning, pulsing us with light like an interstellar lighthouse. Overall, 31 shows characteristics typical of weakly active outer solar system comets, despite its interstellar origin, the researchers wrote in their paper. Continued monitoring around perihelion is necessary to track changes in activity, color, which will provide insights into the evolution of interstellar materials under solar radiation. If it really is spinning, then 31 Atlas's anti-tail, which scientists suspect is the result of a pocket of material less affected by the sun's radiation pressure, could be causing a stream of particles to flood to its coma, a fuzzy atmosphere of ice and dust surrounding its nucleus. In the context of a natural comet, this can arise from a sunward jet, antitail, that is initiated only when a large pocket of ice on one side of the nucleus is facing the sun, Loeb wrote. As a result, the coma will get pumped. The coma? Comma? I don't know. Will get pumped up every time the ice pocket is facing the sun. That kind of activity can resemble a heartbeat, with a puff of gas and dust serving the role of a stream of blood through the coma, periodically over the rotation period of 16.16 hours, he added. Though most scientists hold that the object is probably a natural comet, Loeb is still holding out hope that 31 Atlas's jets could be technological in nature. For a technological object, the direction of the pulsing jet could be arbitrary and not necessarily pointing towards the sun, he wrote. Interesting. Interesting stuff. I don't know. What is 31 Atlas? You guys tell me. What is this thing? I do not know. I am unaware of these things. Let's go on to our last story of the evening, folks. From popularmechanics.com. Let me see if I can find it on here. A scientist proved paradox-free time travel is possible. But once you go back, you might not like what you find. Da, 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 da. Do, do, do. In a peer-reviewed paper, a scientist says he has mathematically proven the physical feasibility of a specific kind of time travel. The paper appears in Classical and Quantum Gravity. Germain Tobar and Fabio Costa, both of the University of Queensland, at the time of the paper's publication, worked together on the study. In Reversible Dynamics with Closed Time-like Curves and Freedom of Choice, Tobar and Costa say they found a middle ground in mathematics that solves a major logical paradox in one model of time travel. Let's dig in. The math itself is complex, but it boils down to something fairly simple. Time travel discussion focuses on closed time-like curves, CTCs, something Albert Einstein first posited, and Tobar and Costa say that as long as just two pieces of an entire scenario within a CTC are still in casual order when you leave, the rest is subject to local free will. Our results show that CTCs are not only compatible with determinism and with the local free choice of operations, but also with a rich and diverse range of scenarios and dynamical processes, their paper concludes. In a statement, Costa illustrates the science with an analogy. Say you traveled in time in an attempt to stop COVID-19's patient zero from being exposed to the virus. However, if you stop that individual from becoming infected, that would eliminate the motivation for you to go back and stop the pandemic in the first place. This is a paradox, an inconsistency that often leads people to think that time travel cannot occur in our universe. Logically, it's hard to accept because that would affect our freedom to make any arbitrary action. It would mean that you can time travel, but you cannot do anything that would cause a paradox to occur. Some outcomes of this are grouped as the butterfly effect, which refers to unintended large consequences. Dude, if I could talk tonight, holy shit. Consequences of small actions. But the real truth, in terms of the mathematical outcomes, is more like another classic parable, the monkey's paw. Be careful what you wish for, and be careful what you time travel for. Tobar explains in the statement, in the coronavirus patient 0 example, you might try and stop patient 0 from becoming infected, but in doing so, you would catch the virus and become patient 0, or someone else would. No matter what you did, the salient events would just recalibrate around you. Try as you might to create a paradox, the events will always adjust themselves to avoid any inconsistency. While that sounds frustrating for the person trying to prevent a pandemic or kill Hitler, for mathematicians it helps to smooth a fundamental speed bump in the way we think about time. It also fits with quantum findings from Los Alamos. For example, I am not with it tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And the way random walk mathematics behave in 1 and 2 dimensions. At the very least, this research suggests that anyone eventually designing a way to meaningfully travel in time could do so and experiment without an underlying fear of ruining the world, at least not right away. So, you're telling me time travel's possible? That's what you're telling me. I guess. I don't know. Is it possible? What do you guys think? I'd like to think that it's possible, but I don't know. Oh, God. Phil's in the chat tonight. Who do we got tonight? Say hi to everybody. Hello, Katie. Fred. Farmer Fred. Good evening, Farmer Fred. J-Berg. Ahoy. Ahoy. Although I think that the pirate motif is played out. And good old Phil Poling. Dun, dun, dun. Is that all we got? Right? No, that's everybody talking in the chat. So I wanted to jump on tonight. I need another drink. I need to crack another drink here. I wanted to talk about the state of propaganda and lies and the lying liars that tell them. And again, tonight is just not my night. Dripping my drink down my fucking face. So I've been paying attention quite a bit to the whole Candace Owens thing. And let me preface this all by saying, a while ago, I made a decision to stop just listening to the things in my echo chamber. I wanted to listen to people outside of my echo chamber. People that I didn't agree with. Because for a long time, I've listened to Anthony Cumia from the old Opie and Anthony show. And after the Opie and Anthony show, Anthony went kind of really far right. But he was always kind of, far right wing anyway. But he went kind of much further. And there were often times I would listen to him and go, whoa. But as I listened to him, I would be like, I kind of agree with some of what he's saying. Not all of it, sometimes, but some of it. So instead of just listening to all the people that I you know, had gone to before for my news or whatever, I started making it a point to look out or to search out for new avenues for me to look into news and different opinions. And I also started watching Tucker Carlson. I found the same thing. I was like, I don't agree with him on a lot of shit, but there's a lot of shit that I do agree with him on. Um, Trying to think of some other people that I can't right off the top of my head. But I had started listening to Candace every once in a while. And the whole Brigitte thing that she did. And then after Charlie Kirk died, the deep dive that she's gone into that. And what I've seen since has been just a stream of bullshit. You have some people that are out there telling the truth about it. Jimmy Dore, etc. Can't think of anybody else right off the top of my head. But there's been a lot of lies that have been told about her, some of which have been exposed, and others which people just they take the lies as fact. Um, Most of the things that she has said are just questions. And they're questions that no one's answering. Or they're lying about it. And she had text messages to show receipts on the things that they were lying about. She's never claimed that any one person killed Charlie Kirk. She's asked a lot of questions. And I've watched this character assassination of her that's happened. And I'm like, where is this coming from? Because while I don't agree with her on a lot of things, I am not a Catholic. Um, I'm not a Christian. Um, I haven't seen anything to point that she's doing the things that people are saying that she's doing. The state of the U.S. media is what is deplorable. The fact that you cannot turn on any mainstream media source or pick up any mainstream media publication and get any semblance of the truth. I mean, every once in a while, I suppose you do. The fact that we can't is sickening. The sad part is, it was probably always this way, and we just didn't know it. That's the harder part to swallow. Because before the internet, how would we know? And the newest thing was this whole thing where they invited her, the TPUSA invited Candace Owens to a show on, I think it was December 15th. They did not reach out to her directly for this. They posted it on Twitter. They didn't direct message her. They just posted it to Twitter at like midnight or after midnight. I guess it was like 10 o'clock their time or something like that. But anyway. And said you have 24 hours to respond. And she had said, she could live stream in, but they won't allow that. They want her there in person. And now everybody's saying that she's just making up excuses as to why she can't come, which I find her reasoning very rational. I don't see why they can't live stream her in. But again, the character assassinations that are going on, I find sickening. It makes zero sense to me. And I at this point, I can't believe that these people think that we can't see this with our own eyes. Like that we're that dumb. I don't think you guys are that dumb. I know I'm not that dumb because I see it. So I question everything now. I can tell you this about the Charlie Kirk assassination. I don't buy a single shred of what the FBI has told us. I don't buy it. Not for a second. He got shot with a 30-06, but somehow his neck didn't explode. Or I don't understand it. I've watched a professional break down the gun that they say he broke down on the rooftop. I don't see that happening. Everything about it seems suspect. And until we get real answers, I don't see any problem with anyone asking questions. What are we supposed to believe? Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, the two guys who told us for forever that they were not going to let up on the Epstein thing. It was everything that they based their careers on before they came into the FBI. But now, all of a sudden, there's nothing to see here. He killed himself. That's what happened. I mean, I don't know. If you guys want to buy that shit sandwich and take a bite, I don't. I'm good. I guess my camera's just going to shake all night because of the train. So that'll be nice. Be a good effect for everybody. But I don't buy it. And I don't see the problem with her asking questions about it. I think she's maybe a bit overzealous in some areas, but hey, let her go. Let the girl cook. I'm sorry, but so far, what she's fed out to everybody, I haven't turned it down. I've looked at it. I suggest you do the same. And not just believe what everybody's saying. That would be my suggestion. But we've been in this propagandized news cycle for ever. It doesn't go away. It's always been here. And the idea that we have a free press, I mean, I think in some cases we have or we do. I think there's a lot of great people out there doing great work, and I encourage everyone to go out and look at them. I might have said this on one of the other shows already. I would recommend that everybody check out Max Blumenthal and Aaron Mate at the Gray Zone, Jimmy Dore, um, Whitney Webb does a lot of great investigative journalism. We're in a time now where you can't just sit back lackadaisically and watch the news. You've got to be a little proactive if you want to find out the truth. If you don't, if you want to sit back and, you know, like I said, eat your shit sandwich and pretend it's fucking roast beef, have at. But if you want to know the truth, you got to look. It's out there. Dun, dun, dun. Katie says she's been watching Jimmy Dore lately. I recommend it. I pay for his website. I pay the $10 a month. I support Jimmy. I went and saw him recently in uh, Northampton. Yeah, Northampton, Mass. Uh, Quaint little place that I went to, um, and saw his comedy show. It was great. Went by myself. It was awesome. Um, and her questions are reasonable responses to them or not. Yeah, I agree. Completely agree. Oh, MSM is dead. Isn't it like, are you talking about MSNBC, Phil? Like, you mean MS Now? They're in the club, we aren't. It's their sandwich. Yeah, and in that I agree, David DeGeorge, JF6HG. I agree. Um, yeah, it's like Carlin said. There's a big club, and you aren't in it, and it's doubtful that you would ever would be. They are gonna continue to do this for as long as they can because the spell works, ladies and gentlemen. If they keep telling it to you, a vast majority of you believe it. So the spell works. That's the magic of it, you know, so to speak. I truly believe that it's all just human programming. When you look at those videos that they released of all the different networks saying the same exact lines over and over and over again in every single state, I was just like, wow. Did somebody just pull back the curtain and there's the wizard? Just a bumbling old fucking fool. That's the fucking magic spell. And we all bought it. I bought it for a long time. I used to say, "Oh, if I long for the days when I could trust the news." I could never trust the fucking news. That's the joke. Phil. You meant the mainstream media. Yeah, the mainstream media. It's done. We can see through it. Like, it doesn't need to be transparent. They are so fucking blatant at this point. It's obvious. They're dumb. They don't do their jobs. If COVID-19 should have taught us anything, it's that nobody out there in the mainstream media did their job. We were lied to over and over and over again. If you get the shot, you won't transmit, you won't pass it on to anyone else. It stops dead. Remember that? I think that was Rachel Maddow that said that. I'm sure there were plenty of other people that did too. But then, oh no, it just it lowers it and it lowers your risk of death and don't worry about the fact that we had to change the complete definition of a vaccine to be able to make this a vaccine. Don't worry about that. That's okay. It's completely fine. And don't worry about the fact that we're not going to release any of the data that we have. And don't worry about it. Don't worry about the fact that we just found out the other day that they knew before we got the vaccines that it, killed some kids. We need Barack Obama to come back. Oh, we killed some kids. I mean, come on. Where does it stop? I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's just going to keep going downhill. You're going to watch your kids and your kids' kids get less and less. I don't understand what's happened. The fact that that years ago I decided to make this podcast and that I wanted to tell the truth in these theaters, be it whatever it is, cryptozoology, paranormal, ghosts, whatever, the strange Fortean topics. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to tell the truth. Because everything I saw out there was just bullshit. Mounds of it. And to see with my own eyes finally the way it is everywhere else, it's exactly like Orwell described. I have watched so many times the powers that be change what's written on the wall on the side of the barn and act like that's the way it always was. No, that's it's always been that way. You're confused. I don't understand anymore. I don't have the capacity to sit back and rationally take that in. I don't. I recommend that none of you do either. Uh, uh, David DeGeorge. I know some people that have throughout their TV. I'm going to say thrown out their TV and stopped paying for Wi-Fi. They seem happy with that decision. Hey, I'm all for unplugging. If that makes you happy. I like being able to communicate with people. I don't like the way things are presented in the mainstream media, and even with a lot of the people in the independent media spheres. There's been a lot of bullshit that's gone on there too. So, Phil says just follow the money. I agree. Who benefits? Who benefits? And we all bought it. Hook, line, and sinker. I'm beginning to agree with a lot of people that are out there that we are in the end stages of capitalism. That this is just, and I also agree with some other people out there that are like, we need to let things fail when they fail. If this is the system that we're working with, we need to stop propping up shit that fails. Whoa. What just happened? My screen just went wonky. I hope that the show didn't stop. But yeah, we need to let it fail. It needs to go. Katie says, I never got a COVID vaccine. I was extra solidified in that choice when my mom got cancer, and the nurses we got close to urged her not to get one and to tell our loved ones not to either. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. I just don't buy into any of it anymore. I question everything. And it's sad that it has to be that way. I think back to when I first heard about Gary Webb and how he exposed the whole CIA bringing drugs into the country, crack, and selling it in black neighborhoods. And he's died of a supposed suicide. I'm pretty sure that one was a double tap to the head. But these things happen. Everywhere I've looked, when I look into these things, and then I look back through history, I just keep seeing it's the same story over and over and over again. It's wrapped in a different package. You get a different face telling you the story, but it's the same story. What I'd like to see is the truth. I was just listening to Glenn Greenwald the other day, another journalist I recommend. The other day, talking about journalistic integrity. Like, this is the job that you set out to do. Like, you're not supposed to cozy up to these people. You're supposed to expose them. You're not supposed to be their friend. You're the guy that tries to find out their dirty little secrets. That's your job. But somewhere along the line, that got muddied. And they decided that their job was to get cozy with politicians and have them on all the time and talk really nice to them. And will somehow know more that way. I guess. Probably not. One of the only politicians that I've seen out there today that has a shred of integrity is Thomas Massey. And they're trying to destroy him. So, again, your job as a journalist is to report on what these people are doing, not cozy up to them. Tell us the fucking truth. We deserve it. It's kind of like part of how the whole system's supposed to work. You become a journalist. Your job is to report. But I guess we just don't do that anymore. We tell lies and, you know, ivermectin's horse paste. Is it? Is it really? Hydroxychloroquine is fish tank cleaner. Is it? It I don't. If you guys buy that, I like I said before, I have a bridge with a Mothman on it to sell you. This is where we're going. Straight down the tubes. That's how I see it. Unless something changes. And with the system that's in place, I don't see how that happens. The people who are in power have all the power. And we, the people, kind of just sit back. We're happy. We got our Netflix and our legal weed, internet, YouTube, your Facebook stream. Everybody's just happy. They don't give a fuck. Because if they bother to look, they'll get upset. If you watch Jimmy Dore for any length of time, you're watching the complete deconstruction of Kurt Metzger, or Kurt Metzger, Mebsker, as he likes to call himself, or Kurt Mexican. The man's going slowly insane from all the truth. And I absolutely love Kurt. I recommend the Derp with Kurt. It's one of the greatest things out there. I want to get into one of the things with that he's done on his show. I want to get into. I was listening to some of her interviews today. Tracy Twyman. If you haven't heard about this, Tracy Twyman, she did a lot of research into like occult stuff. Wrote books. But anyway, she started using a Ouija board. And through using the Ouija board, they contacted, I think it was Kane or some shit. I got to get into I got to listen to more of her interviews. But they're trying to reach Baphomet. And this entity instructed her on how to create a better Ouija board. It's crazy shit. But I'm going to go down that rabbit hole because I want to do a show on that. I want to talk about Tracy Twyman and that whole interesting. Um, yeah, you're right. Massey won't approve a bridge with the Mothman on it because it would fall down because he's a sensible man. Sensible man. But yeah, I got derailed this week. I was going to do a show about death. Um, and then I saw the stuff with Candace Owens, and a YouTuber that I watch had done something about uh, how she was a piece of shit. And I was like, really? I don't think so. But okay. And I just don't know where we go from here. I see us in free fall. I hope there's a parachute somewhere. I pray that there's a parachute somewhere. And that somebody has enough wherewithal to pull the damn ripcord. I worry for my children. And if they should have any children, I worry for them. At this current point in time, I don't see a happy ending to this. I really don't. You're not at the Yankee Cranky shop. You're not going to get a rub down and a tug. So yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a bummer for me. Um, I had until very recently. I had not read 1984 or Animal Farm. I bought them both together in a on the Kindle store and wound up reading through both of them back to back. And I don't love what those books. I love the stories. I don't love what they portray. Um, but it's so very interesting how they both portray the deconstruction of people through just systematic spoon-fed bullshit. We're all being broken down. We're all being programmed to some degree or another. Um, one of the things that I also want to get into, yeah, talking about the Tracy Twyman stuff, because that's a lot of that's like magic and ritual magic and so on and so forth. When I was real young, I picked up a copy of the Golden Dawn. I think I still have it over on the shelf over there. Um, and I was reading through it and what they were doing, how they would go through each level, and you'd have to learn this, and then you would have to learn this, and I got looking at it, and I'll never forget. I said to myself, they're they're trying to hack your brain. I was in my 20s, and I disregarded it until very recently when I was listening to Kurt talk about the programmability of people and how people are programmable. You just have to find a way to do it. And a light switch turned on in my head, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's what the Golden Dawn was doing. They were just programming people. The secret is that people are programmable. You can make them do anything. You just have to figure out the switches. And for the most part, they know them. MK Ultra was a thing. If you want to trust your government, have at. I know they did MK Ultra and MK Monarch, which is another fun one to go down. What they did to some of these kids. If you think they care about your children, you are so sadly mistaken. The stuff now that's coming out with some of these kids that were in the Gifted and Talented program, or the GATE program, as it's more commonly known, the acronym. I knew it as the Gifted and Talented program, but it's crazy stuff. The satanic stuff that went on in the military that they covered up, that's some fun stuff too. But I'm not going to get into that stuff. I'm not prepared for it. I don't want to try to start talking about it and fumble fuck over my words and facts, for that matter. But I definitely want to present things in a factual manner when I'm on this show. I do read these wacky news stories sometimes. Sometimes I'm just presenting to you what they're saying. That's it. My opinions are as they are. I'm very skeptical. I don't like to be force-fed stuff. I don't believe in a lot of what we're shown. Whether it be mainstream media, whether it be Bigfoot related, UFO related, all this disclosure shit with UFOs, I'm sorry, I don't buy a lot of it. I think it's a smokescreen. I think it's misdirection. Look at what this hand's doing over here. I mean, you guys can believe that shit all you want. And maybe there's some truth to some of it, but I think that it's a big distraction. Aliens are under the water now. I could have told you that something like that was possible a long time ago. I've been saying for a long time, if you want to find strange things, look underneath the fucking water. Creatures and other shit alike. We don't know what's down there. So, it's good times. We'll forge ahead. Find a way. I suppose next week I will try to get into my show about death. Hopefully I won't get derailed again. It happens though. I listen to shit and you never know. I might start listening to these Tracy Twyman interviews, and before the end of next week I'm going to be talking about Baphomet. I don't know. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you can join us next week. I hope this was a interesting experience for all to enjoy. Until next time, see ya!